Hey, Alex here. So, DDA, probably the closest thing to politics in the Madden community with how people are so passionate about it and its belief, its non-belief. But I kind of want to go through this lawsuit, some of the thoughts and history of it, and what I do believe is in game. So, let's get right to it after a word from our sponsor. Rock Bottom Coins is the #1 place to get your Madden 21 coins. If you make coins for my videos, sell them to Rock Bottom. If you're buying, use my code GUTBOX for 15% off. Alright, so an article came out the other day that talked about basically there was a lawsuit going on suing for EA for putting this either called Ice Tilt in NHL, Field Tilt, I don't know what they called it in FIFA, DDA in all communities. Basically dynamic difficulty adjustments where you and your opponent playing against each other in an online match, if you start to win, the game will favor your opponent and vice versa. So they sued him because they're like, well, they're doing this to make us try and buy more packs and purchase more players. When our team's not playing well, that makes us want to purchase more players to make us play well. It makes sense, right? It does make sense. Like, hey, I would have won that if I just had the new wide receiver over the old wide receiver. Because even though I had this guy, he didn't play like he should play. So this new guy is going to play better, even though he's got very similar stats. So that's kind of like the whole, it adjusts you and it nerfs you specifically in spots. Okay, that's kind of what DDA is. Now, these lawyers, I think there was 3 of them. Basically, they sued EA. EA provides detailed technical information and access to speak with our engineers. And then they dropped the lawsuit. And they saw, okay, this is the right result. Basically, I'll put this link to this article in the description so you can read it for yourself. But that's basically it, right? EA came out with their fair play paragraph saying, you know what, there's nothing in the game for online play that way in those games. FIFA, Madden, NHL Ultimate Team. So, whether you believe EA or not, that's on you. They've said a lot of things that are mistrue in the past. Or untrue, I guess would be a better way of saying that. But there it is, okay? So, DDA, what's going on with it? Okay, what do I believe? I believe EA does have difficulty changes during the game, right? It says even teams right there. Not necessarily during the game, but between games. Sorry, I misspoke there. So, ensure any 2 teams competitive by raising the player ratings of the lower rated team to compensate. So, even teams, it's a thing in the game, right? We saw a Madden 09 trailer talking about the game adapts to you, right? Between, the father and child as part of their marketing play. It's in the game adapts to you. Now, this could be, the difficulty modes, all Madden, all pro, rookie, pro, that kind of stuff. We know MLB The Show has its very own dynamic difficulty in the game where they say, hey, as you're playing better in the single player game mode, the game will get harder for you to keep you kind of like on an even skill as your skill progresses. You won't have to actually manually go in and change it from, all-star to Hall of Fame to legend. Difficulty will just kind of like change the sliders for you as you go along in your road to the show game. So, they do adapt games, and it's not something they deny at EA. Now, the biggest crux of it is, do they do it for online matches? And it is my belief that EA coders are awful, right? Just terrible. So, I've said in the past, right, that I want to kind of show the, I should have had this prep beforehand. I'm such a terrible YouTuber that I don't think they're smart enough, right? I mean, you could add it, but I think it's more likely this game is horribly coded, right? So, like, here's my picture at EA headquarters. This is them coding their game, right? And the fact that I tweeted this out. I wish Clint Oldenburg or Sean Grady played Madden 21. The things that they fix in this game are so off the things that need fixing sometimes that it's just mind-blowing, right? Remember early in the year we had that board of like suggesting the things they need to change? Why is that gone? Why the last 2 patches just happened without that being taken into account at all? Right? Why they go back to not taking our feedback on these things? They were on a great path forward. But they've slid back. They've regressed, right? Tight end delay fades, which have been a problem for a while now. They decided, let's change cover 3 randomly. So I just think a lot of times they're incompetent. A lot of the stuff that happens to us is RNG Like when the ball goes through our hands, it's just awful coding, right? It's not dynamically hurting us. Because I feel like sometimes, the dynamic difficulty adjustment is supposed to be like, catch-up logic. I feel like sometimes this game, when it rains, it pours, right? When I go down, everything starts happening against me. And like the ball will go through my player's hands. Like a simple touch of my running back, he'll fumble. I'll smack the hell out of his quarterback, he won't fumble. And then I'll go down a few scores. And I'll go down, like, I feel like that's how I feel Madden plays against me. It's all like I'm the unluckiest son of a gun in the world. So if it worked where it kept the game close, that's one thing. Now, how I do know they keep the game close is the biggest hot topic in the Call of Duty community, which is skill-based matchmaking. They 100% use ELO, aka skill-based matchmaking, aka whatever you want, basically matching you up against guys that are similar in skill that'll give you like a 50-50 win percentage. So, DDA, a lot of people have said that is a part of DDA, and in case that, if so, that's true. 100% true. They do match you up. Now, we've had Mutt Leaks, who runs the Twitter account Mutt Leaks over here on the old Twitter, which I can bring up now. I've had him on the podcast a few times, and he's looked through the code, right? He has broken down and gone through the code of Madden on PC. This is why he gets a lot of leaks this way with future guys coming. And he's broken down abilities and stuff and hidden things that EA doesn't even tell us or reveal to us. And he's been on the podcast and said he wasn't able to find anything to do with DDA in the code. And at that point, I was like, okay, now I believe it. Now that I have a third party looking over it, now that this lawsuit's been dropped too, I can see that. Now, Clint Oldenburg, when he was on the podcast, he denied it. Kralo came out and said it's not in this code either. We have other developers way back in the day that said stuff that it was in the game. So there's been mixed messaging from EA in the past on this. When Mutt Leaks said it's not there, it's kind of hard to believe that it is there. But we do know there is a little bit of form of that with like, from the EA patent here, where they have like this match model generation, match user data stuff, whatever computer system. I don't know too much about it, but that's in their patent. But then they say, this isn't actually in our online head-to-head. Because here's the thing about Mutt and Ultimate Team game modes is they basically include every single thing a guy likes. Not everything. There's no titties, right? There's no ass. There's none of that stuff. But I will say it does include gambling. Like it or not, I don't know. A lot of guys like gambling, right? It includes building, team building, right? Constructing stuff. It includes sports. It's like, it includes a lot of the things that kind of like we crave after and we enjoy. The thrill of the chase, winning in competition, head-to-head competition, that kind of stuff. And like collecting. We collect cards too, right? So it's hard to say that EA is going to want to go and rig our matches because we're already spending a ton of money on this game as it is. EA doesn't have to resort to that, right? They already mess up the store enough and they have to give us make rights. And it's like, if they mess up that much and we still pay them, we still play this awful game, do they need to go the extra steps? Do they need to rig it one way or the other? It feels like feels like more work than they do, right? I feel like a lot of times like the gameplay team is just straight up lazy. So it's hard to attribute to malice what I can easily like explain away by incompetence. And seeing what Clint's done and the lack of, vision and ability to listen to the community, it's hard to say, hey, these are some super geniuses that are hiding some code from Mutt Leaks that are subtly changing the game over and over. Now, as you guys know, solo battles 100% cheat, right? That's the thing of their feature. Against the CPU, all bets are off. The CPU will 100% on that all Madden difficulty destroy you no matter what card you have. It doesn't care what your character's speeds are, its speeds are. It'll do everything it can to ruin you. So against a computer, EA's like, yeah, fuck you, okay? But against other online opponents, that's where they're saying, yeah, we don't need to do that. We don't do that. We just have some shoddy systems, okay? So the thing is, like, and then you go back to this, and it's like, hey, this is person versus person. Why is this game adapting to you? What's going on with that? I don't know. I can't explain it. Maybe it isn't there. Let me know, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Like, I'd love to hear something where somebody that does believe it and somebody doesn't believe it into it would say, hey, this, like, obviously if you don't believe in it, if EA came out and said it's in the game, then you would believe it, right? Like, I would like to see, like, one of those, like, the sides that are arguing here What would make you believe the other side? What would have to come out for you to believe that DDA is real or DDA isn't real? I'm really interested to hear from people on that. So, we had, other communities. FIFA talked about this, about the scripting lawsuit withdrawn, and some people say I'm just shit. Well, that's humbling, because like in the end, when you look at the weekend league leaderboards, you see a lot of the same names week after week, and if they were being DDA'd, you'd think they wouldn't be getting to that level, right? You wouldn't think the top 100 be the same people winning 24, 25 games a week, right? Vos wouldn't be doing that. All these guys up here that basically win it, we could look at it like monthlies. So they wouldn't be winning 95% of their game, 99% of their games to be here. Is that he went 97-3 in weekend league? That's pretty good, man. If there was scripting to keep it the same. Let me know what you guys think, though. Obviously, nothing is ever set in stone. Things change year to year, and maybe they will end up proving it someday when something else happens. But for now, I can't speak. It's looking doubtful that it is in the game, and maybe either you just suck or the game does, which more than likely is the last one. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. See ya tomorrow. Oh, thumbs up if you liked it. Thumbs down if you didn't. Otherwise, please subscribe. See you tomorrow.